As you enter the exhibition, you see 3 tables, tables populated with fragments of facades, stonework from the facades of pre-war palaces and cultural buildings of Warsaw, such as Saxon Palace, Brul Palace, or Grand Theatre. And in confronting those materials, this rubble of Warsaw palaces, you participate in an experience somehow similar to what was the experience of architects, artists, and inhabitants of Warsaw entering the city after the World War II. So what they saw when they returned to the city was this unknown landscape of rubble and ruins, unprecedented destruction, which they tried to translate into conceivable forms such as maps, drawings, and photographs. And on the left wall in the room, you can see a map, inventory map of damage and destruction made in the Warsaw Reconstruction Office between 1945 and 1946. Warsaw Reconstruction Office was the main planning institution. It provided designs for the reconstruction and urban plans. At the same time, at this initial moment, it needed to assess the damage. And so many architects and employees of the office were sent to the ruins in order to assign specific grades of destruction to each building in the city. And the map shows that the city, specifically the left bank Warsaw, was destroyed in around 85%. This was the destruction coming not only from offensive in 1939 or retaliation or fights during Jewish ghetto uprising or Warsaw uprising, but also from a planned action of destruction undertaken by the German army in the last months of 1944. And in the city center, this is particularly visible that the buildings were destroyed using flamethrowers as well as explosives. But certain parts of the city, specifically the area of Warsaw Ghetto, was destroyed the most. There, almost none of the buildings survived, even in a ruin form. Everything was flattened and razed to the ground, only rubble remaining. In 1945, among the inhabitants returning to the city were also artists who were asked to, by the municipality to participate in the exhibition, one of the 2 exhibitions opened in the ruins of National Museum in Warsaw in 1945. Among them were Antoni Suchanek, Teresa Roszkowska, and Tadeusz Kulisiewicz, who were asked to prepare works which would memorialize this moment of Warsaw in ruins as the reconstruction works already started. And in those works, we can see some of the artists approach ruins in a very romantic way, which as Suchanek did. In this way, Ruins of Warsaw became a longer tradition of ruin painting in art. But those paintings also caused controversy as they presented ruins of war in a romantic and aesthetic way. Quite different were the works of Tadeusz Kulisiewicz and Teresa Roszkowska, who actually, with very modest techniques, presented the tragedy of the landscape of destruction. And on the right wall, you can see the documentation of the most popular and the most important exhibition which opened that year in Museum of National Museum in Warsaw. This was an exhibition Warsaw Accuses. And the exhibition itself was visited by almost 450,000 people during 1 year. And also in the next years it traveled. It traveled to Tokyo, to Moscow, as well as London, New York, or Berlin. And in all those cities, this exhibition was shown in order to make a statement as an accusation towards the German occupier and the destruction of Polish culture during German occupation. And the ruins visible not only on the exhibition, but also materials published on the occasion of the exhibition, such as postcards and stamps presented here. On those materials, ruins became the symbol of destruction and a symbol of violence against Polish culture. And this is the way today ruins exist in our thinking about the history of Warsaw. You cannot think about Warsaw in 20th century without ruins, images of ruins appearing in your mind. At the same time, the ruins are quickly to be joined by images of reconstructed city, specifically a motif of before and after, which we see on the postcards in the corner of the room. And in those postcards, we can see the ruins juxtaposed with the reconstructed parts of the city. And the exhibition asks a main question, which is what happened in between the destruction of 1940s and the reconstruction of 1950s.